Good morning and welcome to another fantastic edition of Plus Sport. Definitely, we've been hearing so much on all our social medias in regards to how a lot of our viewers are really having fun when it comes to time for Plus Sport. And today will not be different because I'll be having a very special guest in the house, talking about the general manager of Radio Lagos Eco FM. An honorable man and a professional when it comes to broadcast journalism. That's talking about Olajide Lawal, who will be my guest as we start with the first topic today, as we assess Africa's performance at the Qatar 2020 World Cup. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Muda. It's a pleasure to be here with you on the Plus Sports.
Thank you very much.
I'm really delighted.
Yeah, it's our delight to also have you. Let's look at Africa's team performance at this World Cup, assessing Africa's team's performance. And before the historical move of Qatar, of Morocco, we think it's going to be the normal script that after the second round, perhaps one team in the quarter final, then the all African teams are out of the World Cup. But it's a different team entirely, as Morocco has made us proud. Tell us, what do you think the African teams did well? Because after the first game, we thought it's going to be lost until Ghana scored the first goal in a loss. But tell us about what you think African team did well at this tournament.
Thank you once again, Muda. Once again, I'd like to say that it's my pleasure to be on the program. If we take a look at all the African teams that participated in the ongoing World Cup, Qatar 2022, we say it's a mixed bag of such. You know, we had 5 teams: Cameroon, Ghana, Tunisia, Senegal, and Morocco. And out of that 5 teams, 2 teams made it beyond the group stage, and it's talking in terms of Senegal and Morocco. You know, usually before Senegal and Morocco, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Senegal in 2022 also made it beyond the group stage. So we were, just like you said, we were happy that they made it beyond that. But to our greatest surprise and pleasant surprise, I should say, as a matter of fact, Morocco made it to the last 4, and barring any unforeseen circumstances, I expect them to also come up with the bronze medal. You know, what is different from what the other African countries have done this time around is that maybe a little bit of organization. You know, if you look at the Moroccan team, if my statistics is right, I understand only 3 out of the 26 players were Morocco born. So what it means is that apart from the culture, the African culture, the team has you know, learned different culture, take in terms of schooling, football schooling. If some of them were born in Spain, some were born in France, some were born outside. So if you know the combination of all that culture reflected in their performance, and that's why it was so difficult for teams to score against them until the quarterfinal, the semi-final match against France. Morocco conceded just 1 goal, and that 1 goal was an own goal. So I think it was the potpourri of footballing culture that it's reflected in the team. That probably, to me, explain why they are a little bit disciplined tactically and organizationally. Because, I mean, for you not to concede goals, I mean, for your defense to be very strong, and they played against some of the best teams in the world in terms of Belgium, Spain, Portugal, and they didn't concede. For Spain, they played 120 minutes and they did not concede. So it's not a fluke. It's, for me, I think it's more or less organization. They really organize themselves now better than previous African countries. So for me, I'll say that number one, the footballing culture that were the various footballing culture that were reflected in the team, and the organization that the coach brought to the team. So those are, for me, Those two things are very key.
Okay, now for the first time in history of African participating at the World Cup, we realized that the team this year won at least a game in each of them. Some say that it has to do with us taking our local coaches. That is, we know foreign coaches went with African contingent this time around. What do you think? Do you think African coach is probably the best when it comes to the World Cup? Because we've seen that the best performance, regardless of even the fact that Morocco was the only team that went beyond the quarter final. Do you think it's high time for us to look inwardly and just appoint African coaches as the coach of the senior team of each side?
For me, I'm not here or there. I am for competence, and it doesn't matter where you are from, whether your color is black or white or green. The important thing is competence. If you are hired to do a job, can you do it? If the answer is yes, I will go for you irrespective of your color. But if the answer is no, I will not support you irrespective whether you are black or white. Or we have seen expatriate coaches that are mediocre coaches, in Africa. We have seen them. So for me, it's not a matter of whether they are Africans or expatriate coaches. What is important is that they are very competent to do the job. Have they acquired enough experience? Have they acquired enough technical skill to do it? And for me, that is very key. It doesn't matter whether they are African countries or not. And that's why I said about if you look, imbibe all the footballing cultures of the world. Maybe you are trained in Spain, in France, they have footballing culture. And you come together, it will make you better. I remember in those days when people used to accuse Arsene Wenger of probably populating national team with French players. And the answer said, I don't look at their passport. I look at their skills. And he picked the team based on skill. He doesn't look at the passport. So for me, the same thing also applies there. Whether you are black or white, that is not important. What is important is your ability, your competence to do the job that you are hired for. So whether we are from Africa, or you are from Europe, or you are from South America, or you are Asia, it doesn't really matter to me.
Okay, but you agree?
My take on that.
Yeah, that's well noted. But you agree with that? This has become this World Cup for African team has become a selling point for African teams. That it will lead to the campaign for more calls for African teams taking charge of the senior national side. Do you agree with that?
Yes, if you look at the exploit of Morocco is coached by a local coach. If you look at that could be an argument. But for me, I would sound a note of caution there. It is not, like I said earlier on, it's not a matter of whether it's a local coach or not. You understand? What is important is that the Moroccan coach is competent. We can all see it from the result, from the organization of the team, from the way the team plays. So, for me, it could have been a coach for Chelsea Football Club or for Arsenal or for Man U. It doesn't really matter where he is from. What is important is his ability, and that's what I said I will vote for.
Okay. Tomorrow is going to be the game, the historical third place between Morocco and Croatia for the third place. And I'm sure you are very objective in your analysis, and I expect you to be objective in trying to tell us who you think will win tomorrow's game between Morocco and Croatia, regardless of whether you're an African or not.
You see, if we take a very critical look at the two teams, you will agree with me that the two teams are tactically disciplined in terms of organization, and that explains why the two teams have gone far in the competition. You understand? Again, the thing going for Croatia will be the fact that they probably have more or less a full team. But for the Moroccans, injuries have decimated the team. So for me, that might go a long way in the outcome of tomorrow's match. If we had a full team, if Morocco will not be decimated by injuries to their key players. The last match, Roman Sars was withdrawn maybe like 15 minutes into the game to an injury. Before the game, this West Ham defender was also withdrawn. So for me, if I want to be objective, I will say that Croatia, in terms of the personnel available, will probably carry the day. But as an African, I will pray that Morocco will win the game.
Yes, this is all we could take on the segment of the TIS show. Thank you very much, Olajide Lawal, General Manager, Radio Lagos Eco FM, for being part of the show. And we hope that perhaps tomorrow we also can have you to talk before the match between Croatia and Morocco, at least to give us more of your in-depth analysis on the game.
May God spare our light tomorrow. Like I said, it's an honor for me to be here, and I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you
for the invite.
Yeah, thank you very much for being part of the show.